Dr. Elena Martinez stared out the small window of the transport ship as they approached the massive space station. She had never seen anything like it before. The structure was enormous, stretching for miles in every direction. Bright lights dotted its surface like stars, and strange-shaped ships moved around it like busy insects. "First time seeing a Galactic Council station?" asked Commander Jake Sullivan from the seat beside her. He was a tall man with graying hair who had been assigned to escort her on this important mission. "Yes," Elena replied, still watching the station grow larger as they got closer. "It's incredible. I never imagined alien technology could build something so huge." Jake smiled. "Wait until you see the inside. The gravity systems alone are beyond anything we have on Earth. Each section has different gravity settings for different alien species." Elena nodded and checked her papers one more time. She was a biochemist from the University of California, and she had been chosen to represent humanity in a very important meeting. Earth had recently made contact with the Galactic Council, a group of alien species that governed most of the known galaxy. To become members, humans had to provide detailed information about their biology and capabilities. It seemed like a simple task. Elena had prepared extensive reports about human anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. She had charts showing how the human heart worked, how the brain functioned, and how humans processed food and oxygen. Everything was straightforward scientific, data that any species would need to understand before allowing humans to join their community. The transport ship docked with a soft thud, and Elena gathered her materials. Jake led her through a series of corridors that seemed to stretch on forever. The walls were made of some kind of smooth, pale material that glowed softly. Other beings walked past them, some tall and thin with multiple arms, others short and round with fur covering their bodies. Elena tried not to stare, but it was fascinating to see so many different forms of intelligent life. "Here we are," Jake said, stopping in front of a large door. "Remember, just present your information clearly and answer any questions they have. This is routine for new species joining the council." The door opened, and Elena stepped into a circular room with a high ceiling. Dozens of alien beings sat in seats arranged in tiers around the center of the room. At the front sat a being that looked like it was made of living crystal. Its body was translucent and sparkled with internal light. "Welcome, Dr. Martinez," the crystal being said through a device that translated its words into English. "I am Zixthara, Chief Scientist of the Galactic Biology Council. We are pleased to learn about your species." Elena walked to the center of the room and activated her presentation device. Holographic images appeared in the air showing human anatomy. "Thank you for this opportunity," she began. "I am here to present comprehensive data about human biology." She started with the basics. The human skeleton had 206 bones. The heart pumped blood through a closed circulatory system. The brain weighed about 3 pounds and contained billions of neurons. The aliens listened quietly, occasionally making notes on their various recording devices. Elena moved through her presentation methodically. She explained how humans breathed oxygen and expelled carbon dioxide. She showed how the digestive system broke down food into nutrients. She described how the nervous system carried signals throughout the body. Everything was going smoothly. The aliens seemed interested, but not surprised by anything she presented. Human biology, while complex, appeared to be similar to many other species they had already encountered. "Now," Elena said, advancing to her next section, "I would like to discuss the human stress response system." The room remained quiet as Elena began explaining how humans reacted to dangerous or stressful situations. When humans encounter threat or extreme stress, our bodies activate what we call the fight-or-flight response. This involves the release of hormones, primarily adrenaline, which prepare the body for intense physical activity. She showed a diagram of the human endocrine system. The adrenal glands located above the kidneys produce adrenaline in response to signals from the brain. This hormone has several effects on the body. Elena clicked to her next slide, which showed the physiological changes that occurred during adrenaline release. Heart rate can increase from a normal 60-80 beats per minute to over 180 beats per minute. Blood pressure rises significantly. Breathing. becomes faster and deeper. Blood flow is redirected from non-essential organs to the muscles. She noticed that some of the aliens were leaning forward in their seats, paying closer attention than before. The effects are quite dramatic, Elena continued. Strength can increase by 300 to 500%. Reaction time decreases significantly. Pain sensitivity is reduced. Humans can perform physical feats that would be impossible under normal circumstances. A murmur went through the room. Elena heard what sounded like worried whispers in various alien languages. For example, Elena said, there are documented cases of humans lifting automobiles weighing several tons to rescue trapped individuals. Humans have been known to run at speeds of over 25 miles per hour for extended periods when fleeing danger. Some humans have continued functioning normally, even after sustaining injuries that would typically cause unconsciousness. The crystal, being Zixothera, began pulsing with a different color of light. Around the room, Elena noticed that many of the aliens were becoming agitated. Some were speaking rapidly to each other in their native languages. Dr. Martinez, Zixothera interrupted. You are saying that humans can increase their physical capabilities by several 100% at will? Well, not exactly at will, Elena replied. The response is triggered by stress, fear, anger, or perceived danger. But yes, the enhancement can be quite substantial. More whispers filled the room. Elena saw several aliens get up from their seats and quickly leave the chamber. And this enhancement, how long does it last? Asked another alien, this one resembling a large insect with multiple eyes. It varies, Elena answered. Usually between 15 minutes to an hour, depending on the situation and the individual. Some humans can maintain elevated adrenaline levels for several hours in extreme circumstances. The insect-like alien made a series of clicking sounds that seemed to indicate distress. Dr. Martinez, Zixothera said, its crystal body now pulsing rapidly. You must understand that what you are describing is unprecedented in our database of known species. The level of physical enhancement you mention is far beyond anything we have encountered. Elena was confused. But this is completely natural for humans. Every human has this capability. It's basic biology. The room fell silent. Elena could see alien delegates looking at each other with what appeared to be fear or concern. Every human? Zixothera asked slowly. Yes, of course. It's how our species survived on Earth. When faced with predators or dangerous situations, this response gave our ancestors the ability to fight or escape. Jake Sullivan, who had been standing quietly near the door, stepped forward. Is there a problem? He asked. Zixothera's crystal form dimmed. Dr. Martinez, Commander Sullivan, I am afraid we must suspend this presentation immediately. The Council requires an emergency session to discuss these findings. I don't understand, Elena said. What's wrong with human stress response? It's perfectly normal. Dr. Martinez, Zixothera replied, in our 50,000 years of galactic civilization, we have never encountered a species with such extreme biological enhancement capabilities. What you describe as normal would be considered a devastating weapon system by our standards. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Weapon system? You will be escorted to guest quarters while the Council deliberates, Zixothera announced. Security teams are being dispatched for your protection and the protection of others. As armed alien guards entered the room, Elena realized that something had gone terribly wrong. What she had thought was a routine presentation of human biology had apparently revealed something that frightened the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Jake took her arm gently. Come on, Elena. Let's go quietly. As they were led from the chamber, Elena heard Zixothera speaking rapidly to other council members. She caught fragments of the translation: biological weapon, mass destruction, and immediate containment protocols. The door closed behind them with a definitive sound, leaving Elena to wonder what she had just unleashed upon humanity. Elena Martinez sat on the edge of the bed in their guest quarters, staring at the locked door. 3 days had passed since her presentation to the Galactic Council, and she still could not understand what had gone wrong. The room was comfortable enough with soft lighting and adequate food, but it was clearly a prison. Jake Sullivan paced back and forth near the window, watching the alien ships that had arrived outside the station. "There are at least 50 warships out there now," he said, "all pointing their weapons at us." "This is insane," Elena replied. "All I did was explain basic human biology. How can our natural stress response be considered a weapon?" Before Jake could answer, the door made a soft chiming sound and slid open. A tall man in a military uniform entered, followed by 2 other humans. Elena recognized the uniform insignia. This was a high-ranking officer from Earth's space fleet. "Dr. Martinez, Commander Sullivan," the man said with a crisp salute. "I am Admiral Rex Harrison, Commander of Earth's 3rd Fleet. I came as soon as I received word about your situation." Jake straightened and returned the salute. "Admiral, good to see you, though I wish it was under better circumstances." Admiral Harrison gestured to the woman beside him. "This is Captain Lisa Morgan, our military attaché to the Galactic Council. And this is Dr. Alex Carter, one of our best combat medics." Elena stood up. "Admiral, can you tell us what's happening? The aliens seem to think humans are some kind of threat." Admiral Harrison's expression was grim. "That's what I'm here to find out. The Council has requested a formal explanation for why Earth failed to disclose what they're calling a biological weapon of mass destruction. Frankly, I have no idea what they're talking about." Captain Morgan stepped forward. She was a woman in her 30s with short brown hair and alert eyes. "Dr. Martinez, I've read your presentation notes. You mentioned human adrenaline response. Is that what this is about?" "I think so," Elena replied. "When I explained how humans react to stress and danger, the entire council became frightened. They acted like I had just described some terrible weapon." Dr. Carter, a bearded man carrying a medical bag, looked puzzled. "But adrenaline is completely natural. Every human has it. It's how our bodies prepare for emergency situations." "That's exactly what I told them," Elena said. "But they seemed to think it was impossible." Admiral Harrison rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "I think we need to understand their perspective better. Captain Morgan, can you arrange a meeting with their lead scientist?" "Already done, sir," Captain Morgan replied. "Zix Thera has agreed to speak with us in 1 hour, but we'll be under heavy guard." When the time came, the 5 humans were escorted through the station's corridors by 6 armed alien guards. Elena noticed that the guards kept their distance, as if they were afraid to get too close. Other aliens in the corridors stopped and stared as they passed, some backing away nervously. They were brought to a smaller meeting room where Zixathera waited. The crystal being's body was pulsing with a steady blue light, which Elena had learned indicated calm attention. "Admiral Harrison," Zixathera said through the translator device, "I am pleased that Earth has sent someone of authority to discuss this matter." Admiral Harrison took a seat across from the alien scientist. "Zixathera, I must admit I'm confused about this entire situation. Dr. Martinez was simply presenting factual information about human biology. I don't understand why this has caused such concern." Zixathera's crystal body flickered to a yellow color. "Admiral, perhaps you do not fully comprehend what your species possesses. In our database of over 47,000 known intelligent species, none have ever demonstrated the level of biological enhancement that Dr. Martinez described." Captain Morgan leaned forward. "What exactly do you mean by biological enhancement?" "Your adrenaline system," Zixathera replied. "Dr. Martinez stated that humans can increase their physical strength by 300 to 500% when under stress. Is this accurate?" Dr. Carter nodded. "Yes, that's well documented. There are many cases of humans performing extraordinary feats during emergencies. Mothers lifting cars to save their children, soldiers continuing to fight despite severe injuries, people running impossible distances when being chased." Zixathera's color shifted to orange, indicating distress. "Doctor, what you describe would be considered impossible by our understanding of biology. The average galactic species might experience a 10 to 15% increase in physical capability under extreme stress. Most species simply cannot function at all when stressed." Elena felt a chill of understanding. "You mean other species don't have fight-or-flight responses like humans do?" "Nothing even remotely similar," Zixathera confirmed. Most intelligent species evolved cooperation and communication as survival strategies. Physical confrontation was rarely necessary. Your species appears to have evolved as natural warriors. Admiral Harrison frowned. We're not warriors. Humans are perfectly capable of cooperation and peaceful interaction. Perhaps, Zixthera said, but you also possess capabilities that our most advanced military technologies cannot match. Our best combat enhancement suits can provide a 50% increase in strength and speed. Your bodies do this naturally and exceed our technology by several times. Captain Morgan asked. What about your soldiers? Surely military species in the galaxy have some form of enhancement. Zixthera's crystal form dimmed. Captain, you must understand that the galaxy has been at peace for over 10,000 years. Most species have no concept of individual combat. Wars are fought with technology, not personal physical prowess. A single human under stress could theoretically defeat dozens of our finest peacekeepers in hand-to-hand combat. Dr. Carter pulled out a small device from his medical bag. Would it help if we demonstrated? I can show you exactly how human adrenaline response works. The alien guards immediately raised their weapons, pointing them at Dr. Carter. Zixthera's body flashed bright red. Doctor, please do not activate any enhancement systems, Zixthera said urgently. Our security protocols are already at maximum. Alert. Elena realized the depth of their misunderstanding. Dr. Carter isn't going to hurt anyone. He just wants to show you how our bodies work naturally. After several minutes of discussion, Zixthera agreed to a controlled demonstration. The guards remained ready, but Dr. Carter was allowed to proceed. Elena, I'm going to ask you to perform some simple physical tests, Dr. Carter said. First under normal conditions, then I'll use some basic stress techniques to trigger your adrenaline response. Elena nodded. Dr. Carter had brought a small weight with him, about 50 pounds. Under normal conditions, Elena could lift it with some effort, but it was clearly challenging for her. Now, Dr. Carter said, I want you to imagine that Jake's life is in danger, and lifting this weight quickly is the only way to save him. Elena closed her eyes and pictured the scenario. Almost immediately, she felt her heart rate increase. Her breathing became deeper. A familiar surge of energy flowed through her muscles. She grabbed the weight and lifted it easily as if it weighed nothing at all. Without thinking, she held it above her head with one hand while balancing on one foot. The room fell silent. Every alien present stared at Elena in what appeared to be terror. How much does that weight measure? Zixthera asked quietly. 50 pounds, Dr. Carter replied. Under normal conditions, Elena could barely lift it with both hands. Right now, she's holding it above her head with one hand while balancing. Her heart rate has increased to 160 beats per minute, and her strength has probably tripled. Elena set the weight down gently, still feeling the energy coursing through her body. I feel like I could run for miles or lift something much heavier. Zixthera's crystal body was now pulsing rapidly between orange and red. Dr. Martinez, what you just demonstrated would require our most advanced exoskeleton technology, and you achieved it through biological processes alone. Admiral Harrison was beginning to understand the scope of the problem. Zixthera, when you look at humans, what do you see? Admiral, the alien scientist replied slowly, we see a species where every individual is essentially a living weapon of mass destruction. Your people possess natural capabilities that exceed our most sophisticated military equipment. From our perspective, allowing humans into galactic civilization would be like giving nuclear weapons to every person in the galaxy. Captain Morgan asked the question they were all thinking. So what happens now? Zixthera's light dimmed to a deep blue. The Council is considering two options. Either humanity accepts permanent quarantine to your solar system, or you agree to genetic modification to remove your adrenaline response system. Elena felt her enhanced heart rate finally beginning to slow. And if we refuse both options? Zixthera did not answer immediately. The silence stretched uncomfortably long. Let us hope it does not come to that, the alien finally said. Admiral Rex Harrison stood before the assembled Galactic Council, his hands clasped behind his back in a formal military pose. The enormous chamber was filled with representatives from dozens of alien species, all watching him with expressions that ranged from curiosity to fear. "Honored members of the Council," Admiral Harrison began, "I understand your concerns about human biology. However, I believe there has been a misunderstanding about the nature of our adrenaline response system." Zix Thera's crystal form pulsed with cautious blue light. "Admiral, what misunderstanding could there be? Your own people demonstrated capabilities that exceed our military technology." "That's exactly my point," Harrison replied. "You're thinking of this as military technology, but it's not. It's simply how human bodies work naturally. We are not weapons. We are people who happen to have evolved a strong survival response." Tall, thin alien with 4 arms spoke up. "Admiral, the distinction is meaningless. The capability exists regardless of intent." Harrison nodded. "I understand your concern, but I believe a proper demonstration might help clarify things. With your permission, I would like to show you how humans actually use these abilities in real situations." The chamber filled with nervous whispers in various alien languages. Several delegates immediately objected, but Zix Thara raised one crystal appendage for silence. "Admiral, what kind of demonstration are you proposing?" "Nothing dangerous," Harrison assured them. "I want to take a small team to the uninhabited moon in this system and show you how humans perform under various challenging conditions. You can observe everything from a safe distance and see that our abilities are not inherently threatening." After nearly an hour of debate, the council agreed. They were curious about this biological system they had never encountered before, and they wanted to understand it better before making their final decision about humanity's fate. 2 days later, Captain Lisa Morgan led a team of 4 humans to the surface of the barren moon. The landscape was rocky and harsh, with low gravity, and a thin atmosphere that required breathing equipment. Overhead, dozens of alien observation ships watched from orbit. With Captain Morgan were Sergeant Dan Brooks, a stocky man in his 30s who served as a military engineer, Corporal Amy Zhang, a small but athletic woman who specialized in reconnaissance, and Dr. Alex Carter, who would monitor the team's physical condition throughout the tests. The aliens had set up a series of challenges designed to test the limits of human enhancement under stress. The first test area contained various heavy objects that needed to be moved from one location to another. "Remember," Captain Morgan told her team, "we're trying to show them that we're not dangerous. Just demonstrate normal human capabilities under stress conditions." The team began with the lifting test. Under normal, relaxed conditions, they performed about as expected for their body size and muscle mass. Sergeant Brooks, the strongest of the group, could lift objects weighing about twice his body weight. Corporal Zhang, much smaller, could manage objects about equal to her weight. Dr. Carter monitored their vital signs. Heart rates are normal, around 70 beats per minute. Strength levels are within typical human ranges. Then Dr. Carter activated a stress simulation program. Suddenly, loud alarms began blaring across the test area. Flashing red lights indicated emergency conditions. A recorded voice announced that the team had only minutes to move all the heavy objects to safety before a simulated explosion. The change in the humans was immediate and dramatic. Brooks felt his heart rate jump to over 150 beats per minute. His muscles flooded with energy as adrenaline surged through his system. The 400-pound metal beam that had required significant effort before now felt manageable. He lifted it easily and carried it to the safe zone. Zhang experienced the same transformation. Her small frame suddenly possessed strength that seemed impossible. She grabbed objects weighing 200 pounds and moved them quickly across the test area. From orbit, the alien observers watched in stunned silence. Their monitoring equipment showed the humans' biological readings spiking to levels that would indicate severe medical emergency in any other known species. Their cardiovascular systems are operating at 250% of normal capacity, reported one alien scientist. This should cause immediate cardiac failure. Look at their strength readings, another observer said. The small female is lifting objects weighing 3 times her body weight. This violates everything we know about muscle physics. The second test involved speed and agility. The humans had to navigate through a complex obstacle course under normal conditions, then repeated under simulated emergency stress. Under normal conditions, the team moved through the course steadily, but without exceptional speed. Captain Morgan completed it in about 12 minutes, which was respectable for the difficulty level. Then Dr. Carter activated another stress scenario. This time, the simulation indicated that civilians were trapped in the obstacle course area and needed immediate rescue. The effect was startling. Captain Morgan's reaction time became almost superhuman. She moved through the complex maze of barriers, tunnels, and climbing challenges in under 4 minutes. Her movements were precise and fluid, as if she could predict exactly where each obstacle would be. Corporal Zhang was even more impressive. Her small size became an advantage as she darted through spaces that seemed too narrow for a person. She completed the course in 3.5 minutes, moving so quickly that the orbital cameras had difficulty tracking her. The alien observers were becoming increasingly agitated. "How is this possible?" one delegate asked. "Our best athletes, using performance enhancement technology, cannot achieve these speeds." "It gets worse," replied another. "According to our readings, they are not even reaching their maximum capabilities yet." The third test was the one that truly frightened the observers. It was an endurance challenge designed to see how long humans could maintain enhanced performance. Under normal conditions, the humans were expected to run at a steady pace for about 30 minutes before becoming exhausted. This was typical for most galactic species with similar body structures. But when Dr. Carter simulated a scenario where the team was being pursued by hostile forces, something extraordinary happened. Captain Morgan began running at a speed that should have exhausted her within minutes. Her enhanced cardiovascular system pumped oxygenated blood to her muscles at an incredible rate. Instead of slowing down after 30 minutes, she maintained the pace for over 2 hours. The monitoring equipment showed readings that baffled the alien scientists. Her body was burning through energy reserves at a rate that should have caused collapse, but her enhanced metabolism kept pace with the demands. "This is impossible," muttered Zixathera from the command ship. "No biological system can sustain this level of performance. She should have suffered complete organ failure an hour ago." Sergeant Brooks was even more impressive. His larger body mass allowed him to carry heavy equipment while running at the enhanced pace. He maintained the performance for nearly 3 hours before Dr. Carter finally ordered him to stop. "Dan, your body temperature is approaching dangerous levels," Dr. Carter radioed. "You need to cool down now." Brooks slowed to a normal pace, breathing heavily but still functional. "I feel like I could keep going," he said. "It's like my body doesn't want to quit." That comment sent chills through the alien observers. The idea that humans could push their bodies beyond apparent physical limits through willpower alone was terrifying to species that had never experienced such capabilities. Dr. Carter provided running commentary on the biological processes involved. "What you're seeing is completely normal for humans under stress. Adrenaline allows us to access reserves of strength and endurance that we can't reach under normal conditions." But his explanations only made things worse. The aliens now understood that these weren't special soldiers or genetically modified individuals. These were ordinary humans demonstrating capabilities that any human could potentially access. As the demonstration concluded, Captain Morgan gathered her team. "How do you think that went?" she asked. Dr. Carter checked his instruments. Physically, everyone performed within normal parameters for human stress response. No injuries, no permanent damage, just standard adrenaline-enhanced performance. What they didn't realize was that their standard performance had just confirmed every fear the Galactic Council harbored about humanity. In orbit, Zixthera was speaking urgently with other council members. "We have seen enough," the crystal being declared. "These humans are not just dangerous individually. They are a species of natural super soldiers. Every one of them possesses capabilities that exceed our most advanced military enhancements." Another delegate added, "And they can activate these abilities repeatedly, with no apparent long-term consequences. They are living weapons that can operate indefinitely." As the human team prepared to return to the space station, they had no idea that their demonstration had not reassured the Council. Instead, it had convinced the alien leaders that humanity represented an existential threat to galactic civilization. The Council's decision was unanimous. Humanity could not be allowed to spread beyond Earth's solar system. Dr. Elena Martinez sat at the small desk in their quarters, staring at the alien computer terminal. For the past week, she had been trying to access the Galactic Council's historical archives. Most of the information was blocked, but her scientific credentials had given her limited access to some biological research files. "Any luck finding anything useful?" asked Jake Sullivan from across the room. He was lying on his bed, staring at the ceiling with a worried expression. "Maybe," Elena replied, scrolling through another set of files. "I keep finding references to something called the Fury High, but most of the records are classified at the highest levels." Captain Lisa Morgan looked up from her own research. "Fury High? I haven't seen that name in any of the standard galactic history files." Elena clicked on another link. "That's just it. They're mentioned in biological studies from about 800 years ago, but then the references just stop. It's like they disappeared completely." Dr. Alex Carter joined the conversation. "What kind of biological studies?" "Stress response research," Elena said. "According to these fragments, the Fury High had enhanced physical capabilities under stress conditions. Sound familiar?" The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Admiral Rex Harrison, who had been quietly reading intelligence reports, looked up sharply. "Elena, can you access any more detailed information about these Fury High?" Elena's fingers moved quickly across the alien interface. "I'm trying, but most files are restricted. Wait, here's something." She read from the screen. "Fury High biological enhancement system showed remarkable similarity to natural stress responses observed in lower classification species. Research terminated due to security concerns." "Security concerns?" Captain Morgan asked. "What kind of security concerns would end biological research?" Elena continued searching. After another hour of digging through obscure scientific papers and cross-referencing biological databases, she found a fragment of an old report. "Listen to this," she said. "Project termination authorized following Fury High species containment protocols. All biological samples destroyed. Research classified under Galactic Security Directive 7. Jake sat up on his bed. "Containment protocols? They contained an entire species." Before anyone could answer, Elena found another piece of information. "Here's part of a military report from 847 years ago. It says the Fury High possessed natural enhancement capabilities that posed a threat to galactic stability. Something about individual combat effectiveness exceeding standard military projections by 400%. The numbers were eerily familiar. Elena remembered her own presentation where she had mentioned humans could increase their strength by 300 to 500% under stress. Captain Morgan stood up and began pacing. "Are you saying the Council has dealt with a species like us before?" Elena kept reading. "It looks that way, but I can't find any information about what happened to them. The records just stop." Admiral Harrison's expression was grim. "I think I might know where to find more information. Sergeant Brooks discovered something interesting while reviewing our security arrangements. He activated his communication device and called Sergeant Dan Brooks to their quarters. When the stocky soldier arrived, he looked troubled. "Sergeant, tell them what you found," Admiral Harrison ordered. Brooks cleared his throat. "Well, sir, I was checking the security systems around our quarters, and I noticed some unusual activity in the station's data storage areas. It seems like someone has been accessing files related to human genetic information." Elena felt a chill. "What kind of genetic information?" "Medical scans, blood samples, tissue samples," Brooks replied. "Everything that was collected during our initial medical examinations when we arrived." Dr. Carter looked alarmed. "Those samples were supposed to be for routine health screening, standard procedure for new species." "That's what we were told," Brooks continued. "But the access logs show the samples have been sent to multiple research facilities across the galaxy. And get this, one of the facilities is labeled as a biological weapons development center." The room erupted in shocked voices. Elena felt her heart rate beginning to increase as the implications became clear. Admiral Harrison raised his hand for silence. "There's more. I've been monitoring Council communications, and I intercepted some transmissions that mentioned something called Operation Clean Slate. Captain Morgan's face went pale. Clean slate? That sounds ominous. Harrison activated his secure communication device and displayed a partially decoded alien transmission. This message was sent to the Outer Rim territories 3 days ago. It authorizes the deployment of what they call a sterilization fleet. Elena stared at the message. Even through the translation software, the meaning was clear. They're planning to attack Earth. It gets worse, Harrison continued. The fleet consists of over 200 ships armed with biological weapons. According to the transmission, these weapons have been specifically designed to target human physiology. Dr. Carter sank into a chair. The genetic samples. They've been using our own biological information to create weapons that will kill us. Specifically, Jake stood up, his face flushed with anger. So this whole integration process was a lie. They never intended to let us join their civilization. Elena continued searching through the archives with renewed urgency. I need to find more information about the Fury High. If they face the same situation we're facing now, maybe we can learn from their experience. After several more hours of searching, Elena finally found what she was looking for. Deep in an obscure scientific journal, she discovered a research paper titled Post-Termination Analysis of Fury High Biological Systems. I found it, she announced. The others gathered around as she read from the screen. The Fury High were a humanoid species discovered in the Outer Rim territories approximately 900 years ago. Initial contact proceeded normally until biological assessment revealed extraordinary stress response capabilities. Individual Fury High could increase physical performance by up to 600% when under duress. Elena paused. The numbers were even higher than human capabilities. Galactic Council debates continued for 2 years regarding integration protocols. During this period, Fury High populations remained confined to their home system under quarantine conditions. 2 years, Captain, Morgan muttered. They're giving us less time than that, Elena continued reading. Following extensive analysis, the Council determined that Fury High biological capabilities represented an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. Resolution 2847 authorized complete species termination to prevent potential future conflicts. The room fell dead silent. Species termination, Elena said quietly. They killed them all. Dr. Carter's voice was barely a whisper. An entire species. Billions of beings. Gone. Elena kept reading, her voice shaking. The operation was successful. All Fury High individuals were eliminated using targeted biological agents developed from genetic samples collected during the integration assessment process. Post-termination analysis confirmed the effectiveness of species-specific biological weapons. Admiral Harrison slammed his fist on the table. They've done this before. The whole integration process is just a way to evaluate new species and decide whether to kill them or not. Sergeant Brooks spoke up. Sir, if they eliminated the Fury High 800 years ago, and we're just finding out about it now, it means they've probably done this to other species too. Captain Morgan finished. How many civilizations have they destroyed over the centuries? Elena found one more piece of information. According to this report, the Fury High elimination served as a model for future containment operations. The Council has standing protocols for dealing with what they call potentially destabilizing species. Jake looked out the window at the alien ships surrounding the station. So those aren't just guards, they're an execution squad. Admiral Harrison activated his emergency communication system. I need to warn Earth immediately, but even if we can get a message through, it will take weeks to reach home. The sterilization fleet probably has a head start. Elena stared at the computer screen, reading the final lines of the Fury High report. It says here that the biological weapons were 100% effective. No Fury High survived. The species was completely eliminated within 72 hours of weapon deployment. Dr. Carter looked around at his companions. So that's our future. In a few weeks, every human being on Earth will be dead. Captain Morgan stood up, her expression determined. Not if we can help it. Admiral Harrison nodded grimly. The question is, What can 5 humans trapped on an alien space station do against a fleet of 200 warships? Elena looked at her friends and colleagues. They were just scientists, soldiers, and diplomats. But they were also human. And if the aliens were right about human capabilities under extreme stress, maybe they had more options than anyone realized. Outside their window, the alien fleet continued its silent vigil, waiting for orders to begin humanity's extinction. Admiral Rex Harrison stared at the tactical display showing the positions of alien warships around the station. The sterilization fleet heading toward Earth was still 3 weeks away, but that was not enough time to warn their home planet and prepare defenses. "We can't reach Earth in time," Captain Lisa Morgan said, studying the same display. "Even if we somehow got to our fastest ship, the aliens would catch us long before we reached home." Dr. Elena Martinez looked up from the alien computer terminal, where she had been working for hours. "I've been thinking about this differently. We don't need to reach Earth, we need to stop the fleet from reaching Earth." Jake Sullivan turned from the window. 5 humans against 200 warships? That's impossible." "Maybe not," Elena replied. "I've been studying the alien command structure. Their entire fleet operates from a central command ship. If we could capture that ship, we could order the entire fleet to stand down." Sergeant Dan Brooks laughed bitterly. "Capture a heavily defended alien warship? With what army?" Elena's expression was serious. "With us. With what we are." Dr. Alex Carter understood what she meant. "You're talking about using our adrenaline." Response. "Fighting our way onto their command ship." "It's crazy," Captain Morgan said. "But it might be the only chance our species has." Admiral Harrison studied the tactical information Elena had gathered. The alien command ship was enormous, with hundreds of crew members and advanced defensive systems. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible for a small group to capture such a vessel. But humans under extreme stress were not normal by galactic standards. "Elena, you said the aliens have no concept of individual combat," Harrison said. "They've evolved for cooperation, not conflict. How do you think they would react to humans in full adrenaline response?" Elena had been researching this question. "Based on everything I've learned, they would panic. Most galactic species simply shut down when faced with violence. They're not mentally or physically equipped to deal with aggressive action." Jake looked skeptical. "Even if that's true, how do we get close enough to their command ship? It's surrounded by other warships." Captain Morgan pointed to the tactical display. "Actually, we might have an opportunity. In 2 days, there's going to be a council meeting aboard the command ship. Admiral Harrison and I are supposed to attend for the final discussion about humanity's fate." "A trap," Brooks said immediately. "Yes," Morgan agreed. "But also an opportunity. They'll expect us to arrive peacefully, probably with minimal security. Escort." Admiral Harrison began to see the plan forming. "We go to the meeting as scheduled, but instead of surrendering to their judgment, we take control of the ship." Dr. Carter looked worried. "Even if we could capture the command ship, how do we deal with the other 199 warships? They could just destroy us." Elena had thought of this, too. "I've been studying their communication systems. The fleet is completely dependent on orders from the command ship. Without those orders, they don't know how to act independently. Most galactic species have never needed to make quick military decisions on their own. Over the next 2 days, the small group of humans prepared for what would either be humanity's salvation or their own deaths. They studied the layout of the alien command ship, planned their route through its corridors, and prepared themselves mentally for what they would have to do." The morning of the council meeting, Admiral Harrison and Captain Morgan dressed in their formal uniforms. They were allowed to bring Dr. Carter as a medical advisor, which gave them 3 people for the mission. Elena would remain behind to monitor communications, and Sergeant Brooks would guard their escape route. "Remember," Harrison told his team, as they prepared to board the alien transport, "we need to get to the bridge and take control of the command systems. Once we have control, we broadcast the real history of the Fury High to the entire galaxy." Dr. Carter carried a small device that could trigger controlled stress responses in the team. "I'll activate our adrenaline systems once we're aboard. After that, We'll have maybe an hour before our bodies start to crash from the enhanced performance. Captain. Morgan checked her concealed equipment one last time. 1 hour to save our entire species, no pressure. The transport journey to the command ship took 30 minutes. During the trip, the 3 humans remained calm and cooperative, giving no indication of their true intentions. The alien guards relaxed their vigilance, seeing the humans as defeated, and resigned to their fate. The command ship was massive inside, with corridors wide enough for dozens of beings to walk side by side. The walls were covered with displays showing information from across the galaxy. Hundreds of aliens moved through the passages, all focused on their various duties. Admiral Harrison, Captain Morgan, and Dr. Carter were escorted through the ship, toward the council chamber. As they walked, Dr. Carter discreetly activated the stress response device he carried. The effect was immediate, but subtle at first. Harrison felt his heart rate begin to increase. Morgan's breathing became deeper and more controlled. Carter himself experienced the familiar surge of energy as adrenaline entered his bloodstream. By the time they reached the council chamber, all 3 humans were operating at enhanced levels. Their reaction times had improved dramatically. Their strength had increased by several 100%. Most importantly, their minds were focused with crystal clarity on their mission. The council chamber was a large circular room with representatives from dozens of species. At the center sat Zixthara, the crystal being who had led the investigation into human biology. Admiral Harrison, Zixthara said as they entered, "We are ready to deliver the council's final decision regarding your species." Harrison nodded politely. "We are prepared to hear your judgment." What the aliens didn't notice was that the 3 humans had spread out slightly, positioning themselves at strategic points around the chamber. Their enhanced senses were cataloging every detail of the room, identifying threats and planning their actions. "The Galactic Council has determined," Zixthara announced, "that humanity poses an unacceptable risk to galactic civilization. Following the precedent established with the Fury High species, we have authorized the complete sterilization of your homeworld." Harrison's adrenaline-enhanced mind processed this information with cold clarity. The moment had come. "Dr. Carter," he said quietly. "Now." Dr. Carter activated a second device that sent a high-frequency signal throughout the ship. It was harmless to most species, but it triggered maximum stress response in the 3 humans. The transformation was startling. Harrison moved within human speed toward the nearest control console. His enhanced strength allowed him to tear through the alien security barriers as if they were made of paper. Captain Morgan leaped across the chamber with a single bound, landing next to the main communication array. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to dodge the clumsy attempts of alien guards to stop her. Dr. Carter, despite being primarily a medical officer, displayed combat capabilities that terrified the alien observers. He moved through the chamber like a force of nature, disabling security systems and subduing guards with ease. The alien council members reacted exactly as Elena had predicted. Most simply froze in terror. Others tried to flee but moved too slowly to escape the enhanced humans. A few attempted to activate security protocols, but their cooperation-based psychology made them hesitant to take aggressive action. Within 3 minutes, Harrison had taken control of the ship's command systems. Morgan had secured the communications array. Carter had neutralized all security threats in the chamber. "Attention all ships," Harrison broadcast across the fleet's communication network. "This is Admiral Harrison of Earth. I am now in command of this vessel. All ships are ordered to power down weapons and maintain current positions." The response was immediate confusion. Without clear orders from their command structure, the alien ships simply stopped what they were doing and waited for further instructions. Morgan activated the galaxy-wide emergency broadcast system. "Attention all worlds of the Galactic Council. I am transmitting historical records that have been hidden from you for centuries." She began broadcasting the complete records of the Fury High extermination, along with evidence of other species that had been eliminated by the Council. The truth spread across the galaxy at light speed. On thousands of worlds, billions of beings learned that their peaceful civilization was built on systematic genocide. The revelation triggered immediate uprisings on dozens of planets. Dr. Carter monitored the humans' physical condition. "We're running out of time. The enhanced performance is putting enormous strain on our bodies." Harrison nodded. "Elena, can you hear me?" Elena's voice came through their communication system. "I'm here, Admiral. Sergeant Brooks and I are monitoring the situation from the station." "How is the galaxy responding to our broadcast?" "It's incredible," Elena replied. "Entire planetary governments are demanding the dissolution of the Council. Military forces across the galaxy are refusing orders. The system is collapsing." Captain Morgan looked at the alien delegates cowering in the chamber. "Zixthara, Uriai, reign of terror is over. The galaxy will decide its own future now." The crystal being's light flickered weakly. "You do not understand. Without the Council's guidance, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Species will destroy each other.